All right, welcome back. PBL Weekly, Week 3, the finale, championship weekend. A lot going on, huge upsets, crazy performances. Just an unreal experience overall. So a lot to talk about today.
Yeah.
But your thoughts on the league as a whole?
You know, storybook ending all the way around. Like you said, upsets in every division. Once we dive into it, I'm excited to go into details about everything. But championship weekend, the belt, everything that went into it, I think it was awesome. I think it was more than we imagined, 4 weeks ago before we started.
Yeah, and huge thank you to our staff that put a lot of work into making this happen, and the players and the families who did this for buying in, making it a great experience. I know the coaches had fun to being a part of it, and I think it was just a really cool way for obviously all the benefits from the lacrosse perspective, but just something different, something to get the guys together. But it was a really competitive final weekend.
Yeah, the product that was on the field was just as good as everything that we've been putting into this, and the content, the jerseys, and the draft, and all the hype. I think the product of the lacrosse product on the field lived up to that hype.
Yeah, I agree. So we headed into championship weekend with we'll start with the varsity division because they were first. The Venom were the clear favorites as the
number one seed, undefeated, clear-cut favorite going into the weekend.
Yeah, and we had talked off the air a little bit about sort of the Venom Spiders game maybe being kind of a trap game for the Venom.
Yeah.
You have the best goalie, the one guy who plays box goalie, and a team that in the Spiders that the Spiders have the box goalie and a team that's 0-3, so they have a chip on their shoulder, they have nothing to lose, they have a little extra motivation. Then you got the 1 seed Venom who didn't lose in the regular season, and they hadn't really had any adversity, and we didn't know this going in. But then all the Chanhassen guys had homecoming the night before.
Big wild card.
That was an outside factor. We didn't even know about. So a game that the Spiders jumped out right away. They got on the board early, and then they knew they could just rely on their goalie the rest of the way. Venom did not make it easy for them.
No.
They certainly made a push at the end, but it was an impressive performance for the Spiders to come in and win that game.
Yeah, they had the X factor in the goalie. He was a first-round pick for a reason, and Midbow was adamant about building his team around that goalie. Going into championship weekend 0-3, you had to question what his thought process was going into that, and but he Midville believed the whole way through. The Spiders stuck to the game plan, and they got better week by week, and they didn't deviate away from the game. Jokers, Sundogs, another good matchup.
Yeah, this was our first game of the year or of the league. So
haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
And that was a back and forth game.
Yeah.
The Sundogs in the regular season kind of climbed back late and won by 1.
Yeah.
So really, that game was a coin flip in my opinion. Really inspired performance by the Jokers. I think the fact that the two differences in that game for me, the energy from the Jokers, every good play they were cheering, they were getting excited for their teammates, keeping the momentum, and then goalie Sam Gilbertson,
Sammy
G really made some timely saves, and that just built that momentum.
Yeah, I think what brought us to the championship, ended kind of killing us in the championship. Playing the Joker way, a lot of energy. It's always a green light. We're go, go, go. We got a lot of high energy players and a lot of high end skill. So In that semifinal, three guys, in particular, off the top of my head, Levi had a highlight reel goal, kind of going around the back, kind of a shovel shot, top cheese.
Yeah.
So that was filthy. Gilbert and Jacobson, they've been putting in goals, kind of all the way through all 3 weeks. So, we were hitting our shots, we were getting our looks, and championship, Williams shut the door on us and, kind of depleted that Joker energy. So,
yeah, and that's kind of, I thought for sure the winner, after the Spiders had upset the Venom.
Yeah.
And it was a great performance and nothing against the Spiders, but I was like, all right, probably the winner of the next game has the leg up. How many performances like that can you have with an upset bid?
Sure.
And then we went into the championship game, and the Spiders lost no momentum.
No.
They they were up 4-5 to nothing early, and then again, then you're forced to maybe take some shots that you don't want as a Joker.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to score on Andrew taking outside shots or low percentage shots. Yeah, so Spiders in the varsity division, 4 seed, they win their games.
Yeah.
And get to hold the first ever championship belt.
Yeah.
Which is, congrats to them. And that kind of led us in then to the prep division.
Sure.
Where Sundogs and Spiders had the 1-4 matchup. So the Spiders in the prep division were the 3-0 team, and the Sundogs were the 0-3 team. So now it's kind of flipped for them.
What was your game plan going against, the number 1 seed?
Well, I'm not afraid to be on the record here, but I'm kind of pissed off at a few of the Sundogs who signed up for the league and decided never to come. So we were short bench every week.
It's tough.
And the message to the guys that were there was, hey, we're here. Yeah. We're gonna give these guys a game. We're not forfeiting. We're gonna we have enough to play. We're gonna play.
Yeah, for sure.
We can make an excuse or we can have a reason to succeed. And and those guys left it all in the field, and ended up actually going into a shootout. With the Spiders. So we took the lead with 6 seconds left. And then the Spiders were able to win the face-off quick, go down and score and tie it with 1 second or 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was like 1-2 seconds.
Yeah.
It was fast.
I mean, we had it in the bag and just kind of let our foot off the gas right at the end.
Yeah.
Went into a shootout. It went into sudden death.
Yeah.
Spiders ended up winning, but really, really impressive performance by the junior Sundog.
And for the Jokers in the prep division, kind of a similar game to what I saw, with our first varsity game. Back and forth, a lot of momentum, but the Jokers, we really embraced, kind of our brand of lacrosse, and we were hitting our shots and we were making plays.
Yeah, it was, it was a back and forth game, probably one of the more physical games, and again, Jokers ended up prevailing, but they were the favorite, I believe, the 2 seed over the Venom in the prep division.
Yeah,
so
the prep division,
I guess it ended up being, as we go into the championship game, it ended up being 1 and 2 in the prep division. So kind of how it was scripted.
Spiders, Jokers, the same 2.
Yeah, the same 2. So that's that was interesting. I wouldn't have thought that was going to happen.
I wouldn't have guessed.
And so again, just like the varsity division, we go into the championship, and Spiders just jump out early.
They jumped out early. Midbow had the boys dialed. I think Midbow's box experience and his coaching experience in the box game really showed. I think he was building, his teams, every week, every game, he was getting better, and he peaked at the right time. I think he was going for the sweep, Spiders back to back, varsity prep, and almost the same exact story, almost the same exact script. We're both playing our brands of lacrosse. Jokers trying to be Jokers. And Spiders, again, building around a goalie, who had the box experience goalie.
Yep.
He had the gear, he had the whole bit, he had the swag. And we dialed in. I think the goalie played the best game, of his, of his PBL, career. Short 3 weeks. He played his best game, championship game, against us. And
awesome, just an awesome ending to a great first year. And I think something that we had done the last couple of weeks is giving shout outs to individual performances and players. Instead of doing player of the week and breakout player of the week
Yeah.
for this final week. We're gonna tie it more into like league awards.
Yeah.
And we'll go through. So the format for that will be, we're gonna go through the awards and the individuals that are being nominated for those awards, and then on Instagram we're gonna put up a poll, and people on the league and fans and parents or whatever
Yep.
can vote for who they think should win that award. And then we will do a follow-up video, or do some sort of post on social media of who wins, the first end of season awards for the PBL.
Yeah, to go through these quickly, we're going to do a league MVP, both, and all these will be for varsity and prep. So a league MVP, grinder of the year, unsung hero, and coach of the year.
Yep. So pretty straightforward. We'll try to talk a little bit about each player, but in the essence of time, we'll try to get through it quickly. But
Yeah.
We'll start with MVP for the varsity division. The nominees, I guess I'll let you start because he's one of your guys.
Sure. And we're going to go through, so for league MVP, there's going to be one nominee from each team. So from the Jokers, Will Gilbert, he's out of Prior Lake, Minnesota. He was the heart and soul of our offense, and really our team. He embraced the Joker brand, from the get-go. When I drafted him, I knew he was going to be that kind of guy, and he really exceeded my expectations offensively. He was scoring, 2 hat tricks a game, most games. So, he definitely deserves, a nomination here, and hopefully. I like the Joker, so hopefully he gets it.
Yeah. As we move to the Sun Dogs, Jake Kircher took face-offs, played defense, actually was very productive for us offensively.
Yep.
Sun Dogs probably had the most balanced lineup as far as scoring was concerned.
Okay.
But all the guys scored some goals. They all played a lot of defense. Like it was hard to pick somebody from the Sun Dogs because like everybody kind of was a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
But Kircher stood out to me, and this was actually, to give a shout out to Jake, this was actually his idea as far as doing the nominations and doing it like a poll on social media. We thought that was fantastic. So shout out to Jake.
This next one, since it's I kind of lost because of this guy, Andrew Williams from the Spiders. Awesome goalkeeper. So much poise in the net, and just super talented. And I think he's the reason, or a major reason, put the team on his back in the playoffs, and that's why he got to wrap the bell around his waist.
Yeah. And finally, from the Venom, Max Lakoski. This guy was all over the place in all the games.
Yeah.
A defenseman by trade on the field, but looked pretty natural with a short stick. I mean, maybe there's a career position change coming. I know he, at the end of the final game, said he had a lot of fun playing short stick and kind of playing offense. But let's keep in mind, like, this is the MVP award, so like this is on merit. And Max Lakoski was a multi-goal scorer every game.
Yeah, and he's a unit on defense, and he dropped to the 3rd round.
Yeah.
And so I think he came into this league with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And I think he proved himself on, he's not just a defensive defenseman, especially in box lacrosse. He was a force.
Yeah, for sure. Moving into the prep division, the Jokers.
Yeah, from the Jokers, Eli Herman, again, another Prior Lake kid. I saw, he's an LSM in the field game. I worked a lot with him, and I thought his him being an LSM in field would transition well, and it transitioned seamlessly. He obviously was a great defenseman for us, but also contributed a ton every single game on offense.
Moving on to the Sun Dogs, as far as MVP, this guy was only here for the second or the final 2 weeks. He wasn't there the first week, but Cormac O'Neill, Breck High School. This guy was just a man amongst boys out there, it felt like. I mean, he was just like all over the place. Like he probably had the most goals on our team, and he missed a game.
I know the Spiders, I know when they game planned against them, they tried to lock him out. They tried to just take him out of the game, and it didn't work, and that was week 2, I think.
Moving on to the Spiders, a guy that has box experience and just seemed to play with energy and put the ball in the back of the net every game.
Yeah.
Jackson Wartko, he was one of our MVPs of the week, and it just continued throughout the whole season.
Yeah, he was big time. I think he took another step again in playoffs. He was a problem for the opposing defenses, and
competitor, wants to win.
He's the real deal.
Yep.
He's the real deal.
And finally, moving into the Venom, John Dahl, just an all-around athlete, great offensive player, but really commits to defense too.
That hitch and go is unguardable.
Yeah,
unguardable. He gives you that hitch, you bite, he goes the other way, and he's burying it down your goalie, and you can't react quick enough.
Yeah, and he was the guy that I felt when playing against or watching the Venom. He was someone who would always get the ball and kind of carry it down. He's kind of their point guard, but was their shooter. He was physical on D. That football background that he has.
Yeah.
Like he's putting his body on guys. So like he just all around was a factor for the Venom, and he was again one of those guys that he just causes you problems if you're going against him.
Yep, I agree 100%.
Moving on to our next award, the Grinder of the Year. Again, we'll have a nominee from every team. This award, grinders are people that we both personally love. I think it's easy to figure out, like, hey, you're the goal scorer and you get all the glory, but there's a lot to being a winning team, and being willing to play a role, be tough. Fight through adversity, some of those high character things not only make a difference on your team, but like are high, strong characteristics for like being a civilized member of society.
Absolutely.
And so like we want, as the Players Box League, as the organizers of this, we want to make sure we acknowledge grinders as much as we acknowledge goal scorers.
I would agree 100%.
And so starting with the varsity division from the Sundogs, Luke Wells. This is a guy that was all about the league.
Yeah.
He was all in from the very first moment that we brought it up, and he was excited to be there. Again, plays both sides of the ball. Maybe doesn't score all the goals, but makes the plays. He gets other guys involved. He keeps everybody hyped on the bench. Ultimate teammate. Just plays tough defense.
Yeah.
Luke Wells from the Sundogs. Moving on to the Jokers, guy well, Matthew Kahlberg.
Yeah, he is the ultimate grinder. Defense first always with him. Defensive specialist. He's a long pull, close D in the field game. So when I drafted him, when he was on my team, I knew that was going to be his biggest strength. You're not going to see that in the newspaper. You're not going to see that on ESPN, top 10 plays. But when we make the championship game, Kahlberg's a big part of that. Another reason why he's, the nomination is another guy who is, pumping the PBL, for the Jokers, for the league, since day one. So
Matt, I think, has commented the most on the Instagram post.
He's all over social. He's all over. He's there. He's the rink early.
Yeah.
He stays late. He stays for other games. He's chirping the boys.
He puts the time in online. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And gets that engagement going. So that was an easy one for the Jokers.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Venom, Parker Cole from Hudson. He was one of our breakout players last week, but this guy put the goalie gear on again this week. And again, most people don't want to play goalie because you're exposed.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, everybody knows about it.
Yep.
And you're the last line of defense. And this guy, I mean, he's not a goalie in field, so it's not like he's like, give me the goalie gear. Like he just was like, team needs a goalie.
Yep.
I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna play goalie. And did pretty well at it.
He did very well.
But like that's the ultimate sacrifice right there to just go and just be like, yep, I'll do it. Like I'm sure he wanted to play out, especially being a field player. He wanted to get out and run a little bit, but team needed a keeper and he did it.
Yep, and he excelled at it, like you said. So shout out to him, shout out to the Venom, and yeah.
Yeah, and then last from the Spiders, grinder here, Austin Lascano-Sty.
Yeah, a guy who, again, a lot of these guys, they love the league. They pump the league. They get the swag. They're on social. Another guy puts in work here, gets the GBs, is more of a defensive guy. I think he scored some goals too.
Breakout performance offensively in the championship.
Okay, there you go.
So obviously improving, but yeah, he wore a sport coat to the first week.
Not a big deal.
So
he sets the tone. He is a tone setter.
Yeah.
For the boys.
Yeah,
so,
big time.
That's an easy pick there for for the Spiders.
Yeah. Moving on to the prep division from the Sun Dogs.
Your guy,
Tyler Husby, just goes out there, gets knocked down, gets back up, gets knocked down, gets back up, never complains,
Nope.
never pouts, never quits.
Loves lacrosse.
Loves lacrosse.
I think a couple of weeks he was at lacrosse and then he came to PBL still dressed.
Yeah. He was going from high school fall field league right to PBL every week. So I mean, this is a lot of work playing in a box game, let alone 2 box games, let alone after you've played 2 field games in the morning. So
that's not grinder.
That's grinder.
I don't know what grinder is.
Just the toughness to be know kind of where you stand, but just continue to go back out there every single time, and show up. First of all, for the Sun Dogs, that's huge. Show up every week and just and be an impact player. So Tyler Husby, Junior Sun Dogs.
Lock it in. Lock it in. Sorry, I can't read your handwriting on this next one.
From the Venom, Charlie Gilbert.
Oh, Charlie Gilbert, and a guy who, like I've said about a few of these guys, loves the league, loves the PBL, loves the brand that he got drafted to, got the swag, he's on social, he's chirping me, he comes here during the week, chirps me all week. Shout out to Gilbert, and good nomination there.
This guy, I don't know if he ever runs out of energy. I mean,
I wish he did sometimes.
Full sprint up and down the field the entire game, first game, second game.
Yeah.
Offensively, he was scoring multiple goals a game. Yeah. He was getting into it on defense. He was getting in the mix. He was maybe trying to start a couple scuffles with guys. So
got surprised.
Ultimate grinder in more of a different way. I'm kind of just a gritty guy.
He's more of like a Brad Marchand.
So Charlie was an easy choice there. Moving on to the Jokers, a guy who won an award earlier in the year but continued it, Tucker Morris.
Yeah. When he won the award, again, like a guy who I knew, a guy who plays, field defenseman, but then came onto this league and was like buzzing around, playing some O, playing some D, maybe even took a couple face-offs for us, hitting guys, shooting balls. So he was all over the place. Loved, I guess played box all the time. I didn't know that about him. But, so huge pickup by me. Thank you very much. And yeah, he was buzzing around and, ultimate grinder, and, love the Joker brand. So easy grinder nomination for me.
Yeah. Last from the Spiders, Matthew Zimmer. Little Zim. Here's the thing. He was with his older brother on the Spiders, which is cool, and all of his older brother's buddies. So he's getting chirped from the moment he leaves his driveway, and he's on their team, and they're probably still chirping. He's the younger brother, right?
Hey, sit on left bench. I'll let you know when you can go out there.
But he made an impact, and he was doing all the things that those guys didn't want to do. They wanted to score the goals. They wanted to, have the fancy stuff. Yeah. But he had to go out and someone had to get the ground ball and pass to those guys.
Held his own. Did more than just hold his own. Could be a grinder of the year. I don't know. We'll see what the fans think.
Matthew Zimmer from the Spiders. Next is our Unsung Hero Award. We're going to just do 2 players that we feel kind of had breakout performances in the final week.
Yep.
So the first one from the varsity division, Aiden Rasbandith from the Spiders. I don't know what happened. I mean, he's certainly a good player. I'm not taking anything away from him, but the first couple weeks he kind of was out there just... he existed, he was noticeable, but really didn't, maybe didn't score a ton of goals or whatever. And then championship weekend goes off and goes 8 goals in the semis, 8 goals in the championship. And even Coach Midbow was like, I don't know where it came from, but I don't know.
He was buzzing.
He was buzzing.
Buzzing for championship weekend. He wanted that belt. He grabbed that belt out of there and he threw it around his waist, as he should.
Yeah. And then from the Jokers, Alex Jacobson.
One of my favorite players because he's not your big name. He's not your first overall pick. He's again not a big name, but he's going to do the little things. And he didn't score 7 goals for us any game, but he was consistently chipping in. He loved the Joker brand, and was a huge reason why we went on a run and made the championship game.
Yeah, one thing I always noticed about him is maybe he didn't have 7 goals like you said, but he would score 2 big ones.
Yeah, timely
So
goals.
that just one of those players. Moving to the prep division from the Jokers, Nathan Riley.
Yeah, Nathan Riley for the Jokers was huge. I guess he's a hockey goalie. I learned that through this experience. I didn't know him before the league. Great kid. And I think it was week 2 we threw the goalie pads on him, and it was like hockey box was the difference, making big saves for us. And again, another huge reason why we made it to the championship.
Yeah, just willingness to grab the gear and go. And that actually brings us to our second nominee for the unsung hero in the prep, Parker Ritchie from the Venom.
Yeah.
Similar situation, week 2. They needed someone to step in. They said, Parker, why don't you do it?
Yeah.
Not only did he do it, he did it well, and then continued that through championship weekend. So 2 guys that, again, made the sacrifice to put on the gear, play goalie for their team, and make an impact.
Love it.
Last, we're going with Coach of the Year. Probably no surprise, our first nominee of Coach of the Year, Nick Midbow of the Spiders, 2 championships.
Yeah, 2 championships, for the varsity division, went 0-3 in regular season and then went on the, winning streak to win the championship.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about him, we've talked about the Spiders this whole way, kind of the whole time. So I guess that's an easy pick.
Yeah, and then the other nominee, Jeremy Goltz of the Venom, a 3-0 record in the varsity division in the regular season, 2-1 in the prep division. I would have to say it's probably between Jokers and Venom, but Venom had a really strong buy-in to the brand, and that was Goltz doing his thing. Kids love him.
Yeah.
And he gets everybody on board with the slime season, with all their things that they got going on.
Yeah. He brings the energy.
Yeah.
He built, he was an essential part of building this, league's brand. And definitely deserves the nomination there.
Yeah, and as we move on to the Assistant of the Year, we're actually nominating 3 of the 4 here, mainly for a couple reasons. So first one, Aaron Wiederhoff of the Spiders.
Yeah, part of the 2 championships, being the assistant of the Spiders, a central role in those 2 championships, bringing the energy on the bench. And then off the bench, I think his biggest asset was the interviews, the content. If you know Aaron Wiederhoff, he's a hilarious guy. If you haven't seen some of the interviews, go to our Instagram. They have everyone from your mom to your brother laughing. They're hilarious. So he brings the energy, builds the brand, and was a great assistant on the Spiders.
Yeah, great job with content. And then week 1 played about 6 straight hours of goalie.
Totally forgot about that.
We didn't have guys really willing to jump in that first week, so he just put the gear on. He was exhausted, like he was sore.
And maybe even a little sick.
So huge. And Coach Goltz did that as well last weekend, so always great. And then next is Devin Friedbauer. This guy jumped in, started reffing most of the games, didn't really get a break for much of the weekend. So
yeah, so he was the assistant of the Venom.
Yes.
Yeah, assistant of the Venom. Great organization, and again, reffing 8 hours a day. He's helping with the clock. He, bringing the energy.
Last nominee, JP Fisher, assistant of the Sundogs.
Yep.
Again, a lot of work behind the scenes, reffing, running the clock, coffee runs.
Love it.
Jimmy John's runs.
For the boys.
And also a great job just getting content, throughout the day that, help us post and feature players and highlights and things like that. So again, that stuff doesn't happen automatically someone has to do that stuff, and with us being really involved with sort of some of the logistics, he was able to do some of those marketing things for us. So JP Fisher is the third nominee for Assistant of the Year.
So like we said earlier, we're gonna post all these up on social media, up on Instagram, vote, and then we'll put up posts on the winners and give everybody shout outs.
Yep. And so thank you for a great season.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome start. We're going to continue to try to improve the league and make it better. And we will leave you with some highlights from championship weekend. We hope you enjoy. And again, congrats to the Spiders for a back-to-back this year.
Yeah. Again, thank you very much to our staff, to the trainers, to the coaches, and the parents and the players. It wouldn't be possible without all of you.
Yeah, for sure. Check out the highlights, and we'll see you next year.